So Pax Dei released their building FAQ. So what I want to do is go through this thing and look at it and see if there's any new information, any interesting information that we can pull out of this. To build a structure, you'll need to find a good place to place your plot, as you can only build on a plot. This we already knew, and we have an image. And this is something about Pax Dei that I think they have nailed is the aesthetics. They have a beautiful game already in pre-alpha state. It's already a beautiful game. And Unreal Engine makes that very possible. We've seen a lot of very good-looking projects recently that are Unreal Engine. A couple other things, you can see the build version. Not that matters, but if you're curious what current build version they might be in, it's right there. They have a show hide keys button. And that's about it. This is something I found interesting. Building only happens in the Heartland valleys and is disallowed outside of them. I am not sure that we already knew that. I feel like that is new information. And as you guys know, I've paid pretty close attention to this project since it was first announced. So I feel like I've not heard that anywhere or seen that anywhere yet. And some areas in the Heartlands that would break gameplay are restricted from building as well. For example, the pre-made road network, you cannot build on top of the roads, and you cannot build underground. On top of the roads, I don't believe we've heard, but that makes sense and is not a surprise. Not building underground, we have also heard before. This is interesting. However, we do allow building on water, and indeed waterfront buildings look amazing. In some cases, this does allow for building a bridge, so you can build over the top of water. I imagine there's some limitations on how you can do it. There's going to have to be some support structures in place and those sort of things, which we have talked about before, and they also talk about later in this FAQ. You cannot set your plot in front of a dungeon entrance, so people have been worried about blocking certain areas, and that's not possible. Can you build in PvP areas? And they say we don't want to get into any details on that. However, it's basically from this statement up here, to me, it sounds like the only building happens in Heartlands, which are your full safe zones areas. So to me, they already answered that you cannot build in PvP areas, which I was kind of hoping that players could build in PvP areas and there could be big sieges over these big castles that players could build. Sounds like maybe that's not the case, but a little bit conflicting statements here because they're saying we can't answer that yet, but it sounds like to me they already answered that. You cannot claim pre-made buildings, but you will be able to build extremely large buildings using the plot permission sharing inside clans. So if somebody has already built a building, you can't go claim that. You can build with each other, build huge areas by sharing your guys' plots. Reasons to visit other players' settlements. Could we get rare materials or recipes? Can we access books or their discoveries? Not going to get into specifics, but let's say trading will be a large part of Pax Dei, and there's other reasons, including politics, for visiting other settlements. Can you build on someone else's plot? Yes, if they give you permission. Can I block access to my plot to everyone, to part of my clan? You cannot restrict access to your plot, but you can restrict who can access anything that is built on your plot, like your crafting stations and your storage. Can people come to my plot and steal what's in my house, or can they destroy it? Only the players given permission to access your constructions on your plot can access your things. And the players that you give permission can destroy it, but not just anybody. And they're not giving details on how the building permissions work yet. The mechanic of how many structures you can build as one player. So the only restriction is the amount of land available. Each player will get one plot of land that you can build on as part of a paid account. So I find this part interesting. As part of a paid account might be a little bit of a hint as to the monetization, because paid account would suggest either buy to play or a subscription and not a free to play game, which both of those I am very in favor of because both of those tend to have less pay to win mechanics. And we intend to add mechanisms that allow players to acquire additional plots. So you get one plot as being a subscriber or bought the game, and you can do certain things, I assume, hopefully in game to get more plots unlocked. In the playtest, there's often one person that is the master builder. And so basically, I assume that every person gives that person permission to build on their plots. Are the houses pre-made, or can I build whatever I want? You can build almost whatever you want from the building pieces in the game. See the next answer. Can I go crazy in terms of structure, or do I need to respect some architectural rules? There's a physics system in place that forces structural integrity on the buildings, so your buildings have to make sense from a structural perspective. And this is something that they already talked about. It's similar to Valheim in terms of how the building physics work. This was an interesting little nugget here. A lot of the stuff that you put in your house is for RP type and decorating purposes, but the lights are especially helpful, they say, because the dark nights you'll experience in the game. So nighttime is going to be dark in this game, kind of like a lot of survival games are. A lot of MMOs have nighttime that's not very dark, but this is going the more survival route, it sounds, with darker nights. So that's an interesting thing and something that I think is kind of cool. And now the big part, we have the screenshots and then the video. This looks like inside of a house. Looks like some crafting benches, maybe an alchemy bench here, maybe some sort of smelter here, or a brewing station maybe. This was the image we saw before, and again, just beautiful game, and I just love the aesthetics of this game. Very beautiful game. And this was all stuff from the video which we're about to watch as well. And you can see like this is a village built on the side of a hill. Very, very cool. Same thing, just more of the village. And this is off from a distance, and you can kind of see that village kind of built on the side of this cliff, and that is very, very cool. And you can see the buildings next to water here, and you can see some buildings into the water, as they mentioned before, so a little dock here. And so that is all of the screenshots. Now let's go ahead and watch the video. See a well there. I assume that probably has a functional purpose. See a little anvil there. I'm sure that probably has a functional purpose. The spinning wheel. Probably shouldn't be able to see this through the wall, but the briar bears much that would pick a finder. The spindle hides its thorn. I assume some sort of cloth bench of some sort for crafting. Rain lilies that you can gather. The brazier here you can examine. So you can examine a lot of the decorative items as you're walking through here. Charcuterie workbench, tier 5. Sage advice is never given over the results of such work, but friendships are born. So again, it's a tier 5 workbench of some sort for crafting. Probably shouldn't see a rain lily here on the ground to gather since there's a floor in place. Just a little bug, probably of alpha. What else? There's something off in the corner. Another little, yeah, there's the loom, or whatever, the cloth bench from earlier. There's one of the chests, and this one is set to private, so only Caitlin can access it. Another little interesting thing I noticed is the bag, I think, is showing how full it is here. So it looks like it's about 1/3 full. You can also see the build version if you're interested in that. Not that that really matters, but there isn't a whole lot of other information here. A few UI elements, but it looks like they have not a whole lot that you can see there. There's a tree branch that you probably shouldn't be able to harvest through the floor here. So a little alpha bug. Reagent distillery till 4. So when I was talking before, my second guess was right. What that device was in this building. It's a distillery. Something on the floor that you can examine. Is that some kind of a rug or something? It's hard to see it, but it looks like maybe a rug. You can see it definitely gets dark in this game when you go inside, even during the day. Some chairs that you can examine, I assume probably sit in. There's Builder Caitlin, building away. And here you see the building. The animations are a little rough in this early stage, but the final product looks pretty solid. Probably a placeholder building animation, but still looks okay for pre-alpha. But the final product looks great. The animation of the building with the hammer swinging looks very placeholder. But it looks like, yeah, you can build some pretty elaborate structures already in pre-alpha, so that's very exciting as well. Kind of an interesting animation when she removed a piece and it just kind of fell off and dissolved. Yeah, that fall away is pretty cool. That one's pretty cool too, where it falls off like that. So I assume this is like a wood structure and you can probably upgrade to stone type structures eventually. I don't know. A light was put in place. That's pretty cool. You can see the effect of the light. And definitely you're going to need lights inside your housing, it looks like. Here's that little dock. Goes out into the water. You can build onto the water, but it looks like you're going to need support structures, you know, to support it. Very cool. I am so excited about this game. Like, I know you guys probably think I'm excited about every MMO that's upcoming because I talk about most of them. But man, Pax Dei for me is way up there on the list. Still very early and we still don't know a lot about it, but I've seen very little that suggests to me that this game is not on the right track. I think this game is very much on the right track, so I'm very excited about it. I know we've had a lot of disappointments over the years, but with this one, I don't think we're going to be disappointed. I really don't. I think we're in good shape with this one. That's all I have for this one, guys. I'm very excited about this building FAQ we got today. I'm excited to see the second video, and maybe they'll put more on the FAQ as well when they put the second video up. With that, guys, if you liked the video, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video.